So I'm super excited to have Miss Jessica here with us today. So thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you too. Can you tell us a little bit about your impact that you want to make with families that are affected by cancer?
Yes. So, like you mentioned, Carebetter was created by myself and a friend of mine who are both survivors of cancer. And the impact that we were hoping to make was we wanted to take all the knowledge that we'd gained along the way and put it together and kind of package it up, put it in a one-stop shop so that it could do someone else some good. We both went through our individual experiences with cancer and realized that even though we got a crash course along the way in all of the different products or items that might be helpful or what resources or organizations there were to turn to, that information didn't really do us much good at the end of our treatment as it would have done at the beginning. So what, kind of felt like what good does it do unless we share it or pass it along, which is why we decided to put it all on a website that people could turn to.
I personally appreciate the initiative and the creation of Care Better because what you're describing is what so many people experience when they are first diagnosed. You're looking for answers, you're doing the research, and it gets overwhelming. And that's one thing I appreciate about you all's website. It is nicely designed for families who are individually affected, people that want to support, to find a array of resources. So thank you for the wonderful work that you all are doing. It's been a resource that I've proactively shared with the families that we support, and so I'm very appreciative for it. And that kind of leads me to my next question. When people visit Care Better, what can they expect when they visit the site?
Well, the main thing that was kind of one of the driving ideas was the realization that there are many things along the way where there's the potential to make someone's experience more comfortable. And so a lot of that has to do with products that are aimed toward relief of side effects that might occur when you're going through cancer treatment. And so a big category on the site is side effect relief. But we've also created a list of books on cancer topics and others more kind of generally focused on health, wellness, and healing. We've put together a list of meal kits that could be helpful for someone trying to either make their own mealtime simplified when they're going through treatment or send something to a friend who they know is going through this. We've got a list of, we call it the waiting room page. We've got a list of distractions or activity books or things to help you pass the time. As you and I both know, when you're going through this experience, there's a lot of waiting involved, whether it's waiting at a health center or waiting in your own home, waiting for the results, waiting for the call from your doctor. There's always a lot of waiting. And we've got a page of clothing items and different either recovery things to wear during recovery or different headwear that people might be interested in. And then we have a list of resources, support organizations, which is how you and I connected. And one of the really incredible things that I've learned going through this process is how many organizations, how many people there are out there motivated and impassioned to make this experience easier for other people. And it's something that I find incredibly inspiring. And I think that, if there's a way to make it easier to bring patients and their families closer to those resources, that hopefully that list, which is growing all the time of the list of organizations, hopefully that list can help people find those organizations more easily.
Yeah, it's nice that you all have taken your experience and done that legwork because now someone else's journey does not have the same challenge. You all have removed that barrier, so to speak. And I want to kind of go back to the clothing category that you all have. Many people don't think about how the clothing changes. You know, if you go through a mastectomy or you go through radiation, what you typically wear cannot be worn because of the sensitivity of the skin. And so that is such an important category, as well as managing the side effects, because we all read the long list that we get from our doctor of potential side effects when we're going to start a new treatment. And it can be overwhelming. And so to know that there's something to help with nausea or something to bring comfort through the night if you're experiencing chills and sweat, those kind of things are the word you use, and I think it's the perfect word. It brings comfort, right? And that's what people need during these times. So I can't wait for people to visit the website because it really is great. You all have done a wonderful job. Now, this is where you all are now, and I know everyone has goals and plans of growth. So, what can people expect in the future from Care Better as you all continue to expand?
There's a couple things that we kind of have our eye on. Like we're talking about here, the whole idea is just to kind of simplify the process for people. Let them take some of that capacity that would have gone to researching or, looking things up on the internet, and instead take that capacity and use it to focus on healing. So kind of the first order of business for the website is we want to keep broadening the product list, and really just make it as complete and robust as possible. A lot of the items that are on the website are ones that either we came across in our own experience, or we have spoken to people about their experiences and heard from them what they found helpful. And we really want this to be a website for all people in all stages of their life and all different types of cancer. And so we really want to keep having those conversations to keep adding things to the list, because there's a lot of different experiences of cancer that are possible, and so we want to make sure that they are all included. And then the second thing that we're hoping to do with this site would be to make it a little bit more interactive. And so there's two ideas that we kind of have in our mind about things we'd like to do. One is kind of like a wish list, so that once, if a patient kind of either knows what they're going to be up against or what kind of side effects that they might be anticipating, they could indicate to their supporters, to their circle, these are some of the things I'm expecting to need. As we both know from being cancer patients, a question that you get a lot is, what can I do to help?
Yes.
Or even sometimes it's not a question. Sometimes it's, let me know what I can
Yes.
do to
Yes.
help. And I think it's such an incredible generosity, and it's such a beautiful thing how this support can show up for people when they're going through something like this. But if there was some way to make it even just a little bit easier, both for patients to say, have an easy way to say, oh, there is something you can do to help. Here's
Yes.
some of the things I'm anticipating that I'll need. And make it easier for people who want to help to say, oh, I can feel like I really did a useful, thoughtful, specific thing that's going to make my loved one, have an easier time or a more comfortable time. So that's one way we want to make it more interactive. The other would be adding a feature to kind of maybe organize some efforts or gestures, like bringing meals over or running errands, driving carpools to treatment, things like that, when for patients who might need an extra hand.
Yeah, that interactive piece is really going to make a difference and continue to bridge that gap between the patient and then their supporters, because that's what I'm hearing with that interaction. And I know just from an organization standpoint, we send comfort kits out nationally. And one of the things that have been most helpful when we get ready to personalize is finding out what kind of things the family or the individual actually uses. Because how many times did we think someone needed something or could
Mhm.
use something and it just didn't work? And there are a few families that even have like Amazon registries.
Mhm.
And we've been able to go and say, okay, we can put these items in there because we know they're going to need them, use them, and benefit from them. And so I look forward to seeing that in the future. I know that families are gonna benefit from that a lot. Thank you for giving that some thought on how to make that more interactive. A lot of times you go to a site and that one thing makes a difference when it's interactive. I'll leave that there. So my next question is, you all, and you kind of touched on this already about how people can support. Are there any other ways that you haven't mentioned that people can support the work that you all are doing?
Yeah, there are a few things. One, I think that the most important thing, or the most valuable thing to us at this point is feedback. You know, we really want to hear from patients what was helpful to them, maybe what wasn't helpful to them.
Yeah,
All these, or about the site, what was easy to use or what wasn't, what they think should have been included or anything like that. But not just for patients. One thing I I love when we talk about this, we really talk about families being affected because the entire family is affected. This is
yes,
not something that happens in a vacuum, and the I think care Carebetter aims to contemplate the experience of anybody who is impacted as a caregiver, as a patient, and as a loved one or a supporter wanting to show their support in some way. So yes, feedback is something we're very eager just to hear how we can optimize it and make it the most helpful, most kind of powerful tool possible. And then the other thing that we really value is we having as much information on the site as possible. We have a place on each product where someone can submit a review. And so that's something that I'm very hopeful as time goes on, if people do contribute and there is some user content in there to really give the next user, even better information about
right.
how it was used and what circumstances, if it was good, if it was kind of worth it, if they could have passed, everything like that. Back to how unique and different every person's experience can be, which is why I think it's just so great to get as much input as is possible.
Absolutely. So your website is carebetter.org. And
Mhm.
so within the website, there's a way for people to give feedback, right?
Mhm. Yes,
Okay.
there's on every product page, you can leave a review, and also on the homepage of the site, there's a way to communicate with me directly. If you fill out a form, that can
Mhm.
send me a message if there's any thoughts you have about the site or about the user experience in general.
Absolutely. So I'll be sure to put that information in a slide so everyone has that. And I wanted to just touch on briefly what you said that makes your site unique. And it's one of the reasons why we were drawn to each other because you focus on the whole family. And that's something that our organization does too, because, it's not just the patient that's affected. If they have children, if they have a spouse, parents, even coworkers are affected,
Mhm.
right? And so that kind of support is needed all the way around so that the fight can continue, and it can be streamlined and be even better. So hence the name Care Better. What better name to have for your organization, the work that you're doing. Well, I so appreciate you joining us. I appreciate the work that both you and you're Jessica. I appreciate the work you and Rachel are doing, and I look forward to the next time we get to share an update about how the feedback is making a difference and how you all are continuing to grow.
Great. We are so grateful and we're so glad to know you and what your organization is doing. Fighting cancer today has really been exactly what I was talking about before, where it's just finding these organizations that are doing such important work and really feeling inspired. And thank you for all you do to serve the cancer community. And thank you for having me here today.
Likewise. Well,